In the small town of Blackwood Falls, nestled deep in the Appalachian Mountains, there exists a legend whispered among the locals. They speak of a cursed house, hidden away in the dense woods, where true terror resides. Many claim to have seen eerie lights flickering in the windows at night, and some swear they've heard blood-curdling screams echoing through the trees. One such tale involves a group of adventurous teenagers who dared each other to spend a night in the infamous house. Among them was Emma, a brave and curious soul who had always been drawn to the supernatural. Despite the warnings and the ominous history surrounding the house, Emma and her friends ventured into the woods one fateful evening, armed with flashlights and a thrill-seeking attitude. As they approached the dilapidated mansion, a sense of unease settled over the group. The air grew colder, and the usual sounds of the forest fell silent. Even the bravest among them hesitated, but Emma's determination spurred them onward. With a nervous laugh, they crossed the threshold into the house that had haunted their dreams. The interior was as decrepit as the exterior, with peeling wallpaper and creaking floorboards. Shadows danced in the corners, and strange symbols adorned the walls, remnants of a forgotten time. The air was thick with an oppressive energy, causing Emma and her friends to exchange uneasy glances. As the night wore on, strange occurrences began to unfold. Objects moved on their own, whispers drifted through the halls, and doors slammed shut without explanation. Emma, undeterred by the escalating supernatural activity, delved deeper into the mysteries of the house, determined to uncover its secrets. In one room, she discovered a dusty old journal, its pages filled with cryptic writings and chilling accounts of the house's dark past. It spoke of a family that had once lived there, driven mad by unseen forces, their tragic fates intertwined with the very walls of the house. As Emma read on, she sensed a presence watching her, a malevolent force that sought to keep its secrets buried. She shared her findings with her friends, urging them to leave before it was too late. But the allure of uncovering the truth was too strong, and they pressed on, unaware of the horrors that awaited them. The night grew darker, and the house seemed to come alive with malicious intent. Emma and her friends became separated, each experiencing their own nightmares within the cursed walls. One by one, they fell victim to the house's malevolence, disappearing into the darkness without a trace. Emma, now alone and terrified, realized the true nature of the house. It fed on fear, drawing strength from the terror of its victims. She tried to flee, but the house seemed to shift and change, trapping her in a nightmarish maze of twisting corridors and hidden rooms. Just as all hope seemed lost, Emma stumbled upon a hidden chamber deep within the house. Inside, she found a cryptic altar adorned with strange symbols and flickering candles. The air hummed with ancient power, and Emma knew that this was the heart of the house's darkness. As she searched for a way to break the curse and free herself from the house's grip, Emma heard a voice, a whisper from beyond the veil of reality. It spoke of a forgotten ritual, a chance to banish the evil that dwelled within the cursed mansion. With trembling hands, Emma followed the instructions, hoping against hope that it would work. The ritual was a harrowing ordeal, testing Emma's courage and resolve. She faced nightmarish visions and spectral entities that sought to drag her into the abyss. But fueled by determination and a desire for redemption, Emma completed the ritual, unleashing a surge of pure energy that reverberated through the house. For a moment, all was still. Then, with a deafening roar, the house began to crumble, its cursed foundations shaken by Emma's defiance. She raced against time, dodging falling debris and collapsing corridors as she made her escape. As Emma burst out into the moonlit night, the house behind her collapsed in on itself, consumed by the very darkness it had harbored for so long. She stood panting and exhausted, the weight of her ordeal heavy on her shoulders. But she knew that the true horror had not ended. The evil that had plagued the house now roamed free, seeking new victims to ensnare. Emma vowed to never forget the horrors she had faced, to warn others of the dangers that lurked in the shadows. But as she looked back at the smoldering ruins of the cursed house, a chill ran down her spine. She sensed that the darkness was not yet done with her, that the true nightmare was only just beginning. Emma stood amidst the wreckage of the cursed house, her breaths ragged as she surveyed the destruction. The moon cast an eerie glow over the scene, illuminating the twisted remnants of what was once a place of unspeakable terror. But despite the apparent victory, Emma knew deep down that the darkness had not been vanquished. It merely bided its time, waiting for the right moment to strike again. As she turned to leave, a sudden chill ran down her spine, and a voice whispered in the wind, a voice she recognized from her ordeal in the house. "You cannot escape me," it hissed, carrying with it a sense of ancient malice. Emma shivered but pressed on, determined to put as much distance between herself and the cursed grounds as possible. The following days were fraught with unease as Emma struggled to come to terms with what had transpired. She couldn't shake the feeling of being watched, of unseen eyes following her every move. Sleep eluded her, haunted by nightmares of shadowy figures and echoing screams. Desperate for answers, Emma sought out the town's oldest residents, hoping they could shed light on the house's dark history. She listened to their tales of whispered legends and forgotten tragedies, piecing together fragments of a story that spanned centuries. According to the town's lore, the cursed house was once the residence of a wealthy family, the Delacroix. They were known for their reclusive nature and strange rituals performed under the cover of darkness. Whispers of deals made with dark forces and sacrifices offered in exchange for power sent chills down Emma's spine. The Delacroix's downfall came swiftly and mysteriously. One by one, they succumbed to madness and untimely deaths, their bodies found twisted and contorted within the walls of the house. The townsfolk spoke of curses and vengeful spirits, warning against meddling with forces beyond mortal comprehension. Emma's research led her to a forgotten cemetery on the outskirts of town, where the Delacroix family lay buried in unmarked graves. She wandered among the weathered tombstones, feeling the weight of centuries-old secrets pressing down on her. It was there, in the quiet solitude of the graveyard, that Emma encountered a figure cloaked in shadows. The figure spoke with a voice that resonated with an otherworldly echo, revealing itself to be the spirit of Isabella Delacroix, the youngest daughter of the cursed family. Isabella's ghost recounted a tragic tale of betrayal and forbidden knowledge. She spoke of a dark pact made by her ancestors, a pact that bound their souls to the house and unleashed unspeakable horrors upon anyone who dared to trespass. Emma listened with a mixture of fascination and horror, her heart racing as Isabella revealed the existence of a hidden artifact, a relic of untold power that lay dormant within the ruins of the cursed house. Isabella implored Emma to find the artifact and destroy it, for only then could the curse be broken and the spirits laid to rest. Armed with newfound knowledge and a sense of purpose, Emma returned to the cursed grounds, determined to confront the darkness head-on. The remnants of the house loomed before her, a stark reminder of the horrors she had faced. But she steeled herself, knowing that the fate of Blackwood Falls rested on her shoulders. As Emma ventured deeper into the ruins, she encountered spectral manifestations of the Delacroix family, twisted apparitions fueled by centuries of anger and despair. They lurked in the shadows, whispering curses and malevolent incantations that threatened to ensnare her soul. But Emma pressed on, guided by Isabella's ghostly presence and a glimmer of hope. She navigated through crumbling corridors and hidden chambers, facing spectral guardians and arcane traps that sought to hinder her progress. Finally, after what felt like an eternity of trials and tribulations, Emma reached the heart of the cursed house, the chamber where the artifact lay hidden. It was a small, unassuming object, a blackened talisman adorned with ancient symbols of power and doom. As Emma reached out to claim the artifact, a surge of malevolent energy surged through her, threatening to overwhelm her senses. But she clenched her jaw and focused her will, channeling all her determination into one decisive act. With a swift motion, Emma shattered the artifact, unleashing a blinding wave of light that engulfed the chamber. The ruins of the cursed house trembled and groaned, as if purged of a long-standing malignancy. But as the light faded and Emma emerged from the ruins, she knew that the darkness had not been banished, it had merely retreated, biding its time until it could rise again. The curse of the Delacroix lingered, a lingering shadow that haunted the town of Blackwood Falls. Emma knew that her battle was far from over. The true horror lay not in the crumbling ruins or vengeful spirits, but in the knowledge that evil could never truly be destroyed, it could only be contained, waiting for the next unwitting soul to unleash its wrath. As Emma emerged from the ruins of the cursed house, a sense of unease settled over her like a shroud. The once vibrant town of Blackwood Falls now seemed to hold its breath, as if waiting for the other shoe to drop. Emma could feel the lingering presence of malevolent forces, a palpable tension that hung in the air. She knew that her actions had only bought the town a temporary reprieve, that the true horror of the Delacroix curse was far from over. As she walked through the silent streets, whispers seemed to follow her, carried on the wind like ominous warnings. Emma sought solace in the company of her friends, hoping that their shared ordeal would bring them closer together. But the events at the cursed house had taken a toll on them all, leaving behind scars that ran deeper than mere physical wounds. Among her friends was Liam, a stoic and pragmatic young man who had always been the voice of reason. But even Liam seemed haunted by the events of that fateful night, his usually steady demeanor now tinged with a hint of paranoia. Then there was Sarah, a free-spirited soul with a penchant for the supernatural. She had been the one to suggest exploring the cursed house, drawn by a morbid curiosity that now seemed like a terrible mistake. And finally, there was Alex, Emma's childhood friend and confidant. Alex had always been the protector of the group, his unwavering loyalty a source of comfort in times of uncertainty. But even he seemed on edge, his eyes darting nervously at every shadow. Together, they tried to make sense of what had happened, piecing together fragments of memories and shared nightmares. But the more they talked, the more they realized that the darkness that had plagued the cursed house had followed them back to Blackwood Falls. Strange occurrences began to unfold in the town, unexplained disappearances, eerie sightings, and a pervasive sense of dread that seemed to infect everyone. Emma and her friends knew that they couldn't ignore the signs, that they had to confront the evil that lurked in the shadows. Their investigation led them to a forgotten cemetery on the outskirts of town, similar to the one where Emma had encountered Isabella's ghost. But this cemetery held a darker secret, a hidden mausoleum that bore the Delacroix family crest. Inside the mausoleum, Emma and her friends discovered a series of cryptic symbols and inscriptions, each hinting at the dark legacy of the Delacroix curse. They deciphered passages that spoke of forbidden rituals and ancient pacts, of a power beyond mortal comprehension that had been unleashed centuries ago. As they delved deeper into the mysteries of the mausoleum, Emma sensed a growing unease among her friends. The air grew heavy, and whispers echoed off the cold stone walls, as if the very dead were trying to communicate with the living. Their exploration culminated in the discovery of a hidden chamber deep within the mausoleum, a chamber that housed a relic of immense power. It was a tome bound in human skin, its pages filled with arcane incantations and eldritch knowledge. Emma hesitated, her instincts warning her of the dangers of tampering with such dark magic. But the lure of answers, of a way to end the curse once and for all, proved too strong to resist. With trembling hands, Emma opened the tome and began to read aloud the ancient incantations. The air crackled with energy, and the chamber seemed to pulse with a malevolent force. As she spoke the final words of the incantation, a blinding light erupted from the tome, engulfing Emma and her friends in its searing embrace. They screamed in agony as the power of the curse surged through them, twisting their bodies and souls. When the light faded and Emma regained her senses, she found herself alone in the chamber. Her friends were gone, their fates unknown. But the darkness that had plagued Blackwood Falls seemed to have lifted, if only temporarily. Emma knew that she had paid a price for her actions, that the curse had claimed its toll. But she also knew that the battle against evil was never truly over, that it lurked in the shadows, waiting for the next unsuspecting victim to unleash its wrath. As she stumbled out of the mausoleum and into the moonlit night, Emma felt a chill run down her spine. She sensed that the true horror was yet to come, that the darkness had merely retreated, gathering its strength for a final, devastating strike. With a heavy heart and a mind filled with dread, Emma vowed to continue the fight, to never give up until the curse of the Delacroix was truly broken. But deep down, she knew that the true test of her courage and resilience was still to come, that the nightmare was far from over. The moon hung low in the sky, casting a pale light over the quiet town of Blackwood Falls. Emma walked the deserted streets, her senses on high alert, every shadow seeming to conceal a lurking threat. The events at the mausoleum had left her shaken, but her resolve remained unbroken. She knew that the darkness had not been banished, it had merely shifted, waiting for the right moment to strike again. As she reached the town square, Emma noticed a gathering of townsfolk near the old church. Curiosity piqued, she approached cautiously, her eyes scanning the crowd for any sign of danger. The atmosphere was tense, murmurs and whispers passing among the gathered residents. A voice cut through the quiet chatter, drawing Emma's attention, a voice she recognized as that of Father James, the town's long-serving priest. He stood on the steps of the church, his expression grave as he addressed the assembled crowd. My friends, Father James began, his voice carrying a weight of solemnity, we gather tonight not out of fear, but out of unity. The darkness that has plagued our town for generations has reared its head once more, but we shall not cower in its shadow. Emma listened intently, her heart pounding with a mix of apprehension and determination. She knew that the priest's words held a deeper meaning, that he was alluding to the resurgence of the Delacroix curse. Father James spoke of ancient rituals and forgotten lore, of a time when the town had faced similar trials and emerged stronger. He called upon the townsfolk to band together, to stand against the encroaching darkness with courage and faith. As the crowd dispersed, Emma approached Father James, her mind racing with questions. The priest regarded her with a knowing gaze, as if he could sense the turmoil within her. Emma, he said softly, you carry a heavy burden, one that few can understand. But know that you are not alone in this fight. The town stands behind you, united in our resolve to confront the darkness head-on. Emma nodded, grateful for the support yet burdened by the weight of responsibility. She knew that the key to ending the curse lay in uncovering the true origins of the Delacroix family's pact with darkness, a task that seemed daunting yet inevitable. Her thoughts turned to her friends, Liam, Sarah, and Alex, whose fates remained uncertain after the events at the mausoleum. She couldn't shake the feeling that they were still connected, their destinies intertwined in ways she couldn't fully grasp. Determined to find answers, Emma delved deeper into the town's history, scouring archives and old records for any mention of the Delacroix family's dark legacy. She uncovered tales of forbidden rituals and mysterious disappearances that dated back centuries, each adding a layer of dread to the unfolding mystery. One name kept recurring in Emma's research, a figure shrouded in myth and legend, yet central to the town's dark history. Madame Isadora, a reputed witch who had lived during the height of the Delacroix family's reign of terror. According to the stories, Madame Isadora had possessed immense knowledge of the occult, her powers rumored to rival those of the Delacroix themselves. But where the Delacroix had sought power through darkness, Madame Isadora had sought balance, using her abilities to protect the town from malevolent forces. Emma's curiosity was piqued, and she resolved to seek out Madame Isadora's hidden lair, a secluded cabin deep in the heart of the forest, rumored to be a repository of ancient knowledge and arcane artifacts. Armed with a sense of purpose, Emma ventured into the woods, the dense foliage and twisting paths a testament to nature's untamed beauty and inherent danger. The forest seemed to come alive around her, the rustle of leaves and the calls of nocturnal creatures adding to the eerie ambience. After what felt like hours of wandering, Emma stumbled upon a clearing that held the dilapidated remains of Madame Isadora's cabin. The structure was barely standing, nature reclaiming it with creeping vines and tangled roots. As Emma cautiously approached, she felt a tingling sensation in the air, a subtle shift in energy that signaled the presence of something ancient and powerful. She stepped inside the cabin, the musty scent of old books and dried herbs filling her nostrils. The interior was a treasure trove of occult artifacts, scrolls adorned with cryptic symbols, potions brewed from rare ingredients, and relics imbued with magical properties. Emma's eyes widened with wonder and trepidation, realizing that she stood on the threshold of forbidden knowledge. Her search led her to a hidden chamber beneath the cabin, a chamber that housed Madame Isadora's most guarded secrets. Among them was a tome, a grimoire of immense power, its pages bound in leather and etched with intricate sigils. Emma hesitated, her fingers hovering over the grimoire, a mix of fear and curiosity coursing through her veins. She knew that the knowledge contained within could hold the key to breaking the Delacroix curse, but she also understood the risks of delving too deep into dark magic. As she reached for the grimoire, a voice echoed in her mind, a voice that sounded eerily familiar. It was Isabella Delacroix, the ghost whose spirit had guided Emma through the trials at the mausoleum. Emma, Isabella's voice whispered, you must tread carefully. The secrets within that grimoire are both a blessing and a curse. They hold the power to undo the darkness that plagues our town, but they also carry the weight of untold consequences. Emma hesitated, torn between the desire for answers and the fear of unleashing even greater horrors upon Blackwood Falls. But the urgency of the situation weighed heavily on her, and she made a decision that would shape the fate of the town and all who dwelled within its borders. With a deep breath, Emma opened the grimoire and began to decipher its ancient text. The words seemed to come alive on the page, shifting and pulsating with an otherworldly energy. Emma's mind raced as she pieced together the incantations and rituals, each step bringing her closer to unlocking the grimoire's true power. But as she delved deeper into the arcane knowledge, Emma felt a creeping sense of unease. Whispers echoed in the chamber, disembodied voices murmuring words of warning and doom. Shadows danced on the walls, taking on sinister shapes that seemed to mock her efforts. Emma pressed on, her determination overriding her fear. She recited the incantations with precision, channeling the magic of the grimoire into a focused surge of energy. The air crackled with power, and Emma could feel the fabric of reality bending around her. And then, with a blinding flash, the ritual reached its climax. A surge of pure energy erupted from the grimoire, engulfing Emma in its searing embrace. She screamed, a primal cry of agony and ecstasy as the magic coursed through her, reshaping her very being. When the light faded and Emma regained her senses, she found herself standing in the heart of Blackwood Falls, a transformed being, her eyes glowing with an otherworldly light, her skin pulsing with dark energy. The townsfolk stared in awe and terror, their faces a mixture of wonder and dread. Emma could sense their fear, their uncertainty at the sight of this newfound power that she wielded. But there was no time for explanations or reassurances. The darkness that had plagued Blackwood Falls for generations had been banished, its hold on the town finally broken. Yet Emma knew that this victory came at a price that she alone would bear. As she looked out at the town she had sworn to protect, Emma felt a heavy weight settle on her shoulders. She was no longer just Emma, the curious and determined seeker of truth. She was now something more, an entity of magic and mystery, bound by ancient forces beyond mortal comprehension. And with that realization came a sense of isolation, a loneliness that echoed in the depths of her soul. She was no longer one of them, no longer a mere mortal. She was an outcast, a guardian of secrets and a harbinger of unknown dangers. But even as the townsfolk whispered and stared, Emma knew that her journey was far from over. The darkness may have been vanquished for now, but it was a persistent foe, always lurking at the edges of reality, waiting for its chance to return. And so, with a heavy heart and a mind filled with uncertainty, Emma turned away from the town she had saved and walked into the night, her footsteps echoing in the silence. The horror of Blackwood Falls was over, but the horror of Emma's new existence had only just begun.